When the war was over, the evacuees returned home from the Far East and Siberia. However, the traces of Lev's parents, sister Yalta, and sister-in-law Fega were lost. Lev exchanged a few letters with Fega's sister, Sarah, but she didn't know anything about them. They also had no news about Sarah's younger brothers, Aaron and Meir, nor Samuel's sisters, Celia and Hannah. Since Samuel wasn't able to leave his job, Sarah decided to travel to Ukraine to find Fega and the rest of the families. The train ran across Siberia, Baikal Lake, and the Ural Mountains, again showcasing their incredible beauty through the window. The city of Kharkov appeared on the horizon, filling Sarah's heart with hope and fear. Once there, she emerged from the train in shock, looking around in bewilderment. The train station terminal was destroyed, as well as all of the surrounding area. Somehow, the public tram was still running. Sarah got into a tram and observed the destruction of the city in horror. The tram passed by a destroyed building, where Aaron and Anna had lived with Anna's parents. Sarah stood at the tram door, ready to get off, but instead continued her trip through the city of ghosts. Where would she find Aaron? How? Her eyes watered, and Sarah felt the salty taste on her lips. Sarah knew Meir's address and remembered his wife Olga, a girl with blonde braids, but she'd never been to her house. Meir lived in a remote part of the city, and the farther the tram went from the center, fewer ruins appeared, and a sense of hope grew again in Sarah's heart. Now, she was going to knock on the door with number 11 on it, and Meir would run toward her and hug her. "Mommy, I miss you so much." Sarah would feed him with red caviar. Meir's baby would eat as much as he wanted, or maybe as much as she wanted. Sarah even didn't know whether it was a boy or a girl. Olga would enjoy it too. Here it was, number 11. Sarah knocked on the door. Steps. Meir. Finally. The door opened and an old Ukrainian lady was at the door. "What do you want?" This is probably Olga's mother, Sarah thought, glancing inside through the door opening, but there was nobody there. "I'm looking for my brother, Meir, and his wife, Olga. They lived here before the war." It doesn't matter what it was before the war, the woman coldly said. "I moved here recently. You'd better ask the neighbor. He lived here when I moved in. He might know." She disappeared behind the closed door. Sarah knocked on the next door. "I'm looking for my brother, Meir, and his wife, Olga. They lived in that house before the war. Do you know anything about them?" Sarah asked an old man. "I don't know exactly, but they disappeared a long time ago. Germans called all Jews, for some reason. I told Olga about it, so she gathered her things, took the baby, and went there too. I didn't see her after that. She didn't even tell her mother anything. She got some mail later. I didn't read it, but it looked like the usual military death notice from the war. I thought it was probably about her husband. If you're interested, you'd better go ask her friend, she might know better." Sarah's legs got numb. "Hey! You lady! Don't you faint here. I'm too old to take care of you." The old man stepped down the steps to support Sarah. "Listen, I might confuse things. I'm already too old. You'd better ask somebody else. You know, her friend lives on the next block. They were together all the time. Her name is Klava. She also disappeared for some time and then came back. Maybe Olga also is someplace else and decided to stay there longer. I called Olga to run away with me." Klava told Sarah her story, but she didn't want to. Soon, after Meir was drafted into the war, the Germans occupied the city of Kharkov, Ukraine. The next day, Olga saw a big poster on a building wall. "All Jews have to come to the tractor plant. Have your documents and warm clothes at the ready. Anybody who does not obey will be executed. Anybody who knows about hidden Jews and does not report them to the German army will be executed." Olga wasn't Jewish and decided that this poster didn't apply to her. At night, somebody knocked on the door. Olga opened a door and let her friend, Klava, in. Klava was Ukrainian but also was married to a Jewish man who was serving in the war. She had her baby and a small backpack. Klava. What happened? It's 1 a.m. Olga, now surprised, questioned. Olga. We have to run, she said with tears in her eyes. Why? Where? My brother came to me this evening. He said, if you don't give your kike baby to the Germans, I will. If you do it yourself, you have a chance to stay alive. If I do it, they'll strangle you and throw your body with all the other kikes into the ravine near the tractor plant. I don't want to be killed because of your kike baby. I couldn't believe that my own brother said such things, Klava sobbed. Olga, if we don't run, we'll die. Tears of bitterness rolled down her face. Oh, Klava. Stop crying, Olga said. This is ridiculous. Nobody is going to strangle you and your baby. It's nonsense. Don't listen to your brother. He's just frightening you because he never liked your husband. You're right. He never liked Jews, but regardless, I'm scared to death. What if everything he told me is true? It can't be. The German nation that adores Beethoven, Bach, and Strauss cannot do such things. Why in the world would they do that? They are not barbarians. It's a civilized nation. I don't know, but I think that I better run away. Where? Where are you going to go? I don't know, anywhere, but as far away from this place as possible. Olga, if we go together, it would be easier for both of us. I have a very bad feeling about this. You can tell me anything you want about the German nation, but the truth is that they started the war, and that people heard shots behind the tractor plant. No matter what, I'm out of here. So, are you going with me or not? No, I'm not going. I don't want to make trouble for myself, because of some gossip. All right, my friend. I hope that someday we'll be together again. Take care of yourself. They hugged each other and Klava left. It was late fall. The night was dark. Nobody saw a young woman with a baby in her hands sneaking out of the city. Snow was falling, creating a beautiful, white, fluffy layer over the frozen ground. Klava's tracks over the field slowly disappeared under the falling snow. The next morning, Olga was woken up by a knock on the door. Her neighbor was there. Hey, Olga. You'd better report your baby to the Germans. If they find out, they'll shoot all of us. Did you read the poster? It says that all people who know about Jews and don't report them will be executed. They won't do anything bad to your baby. It's just a baby, no harm. Olga got dressed, took her documents, and went to the tractor plant. Hundreds of people were there, mostly elderly, women, and children. Olga came to a German officer and asked him politely, "Excuse me, officer. I'm not Jew. My husband is. He's not here, though. Do I have to report here?" "Stay in this line," the officer ordered, pointing to the main line formed by the people. Suddenly, a sense of danger made her stomach sick, but it was too late. For several hours, Olga waited there, holding her baby in her arms. Finally, she was ordered to go somewhere with a group of 40 people. Beethoven's Appassionata started playing its first chords in Olga's mind. The group of people went through a gate. The Germans gathered their documents and threw them into a large box. The threatening sound of the music made Olga's heart beat faster. "Officer, I'm not a Jew." She tried to get someone's attention, but nobody heard her. It can't be. The German nation that adores Beethoven. Her own voice sounded in her mind. People heard shots behind the tractor plant. The sound of Klava's voice, with the accompaniment echoed, tearing her mind apart. Scared to death. Scared to death. Scared to death. Klava's warning tortured Olga's consciousness. The armed German soldiers with dogs escorted the people somewhere. They stopped in front of a big truck without any windows. A German officer explained to the group of people that they were going to be taken to some place to be registered for a new job. He ordered them to get into the truck. With a great sense of fear, she asked a German soldier standing next to her, "Where are we going?" He pushed her toward the truck. "Where are we going?" she cried. "Schnell," he ordered, pointing his gun at her head. She got up into the truck, holding her baby in her one hand and helping herself with the other. "We're going to die, we're going to die." The Appassionata sounded in her head like a frightening prelude. The truck door slammed shut. It started its engine and began to move. The sound of the Appassionata stopped with a deafening silence. "We're moving, we're not going to die. They're going to offer us some jobs. They are not barbarians. It's a civilized nation." Olga thought. "Someday we'll be together again." Olga heard Klava's voice in her mind like a sense of hope. Suddenly, she smelled some terrible odor. The people panicked around her. "Strangle people, strangle people, strangle people." It was hard to breathe. There was fear and hysteria all around her. The Appassionata fused into a hysterical yelp. "We're going to die, we're going to die, we're going to die." The truck quickly filled with gas. The baby was choking. Olga held her breath. She took off one of the baby's pieces of clothing, put it between her legs, and urinated on it. Then she put the wet cloth on her baby's face, covering her baby's nose and mouth. "Live long, my baby," she thought. She couldn't hold her breath any longer. The Appassionata dissolved into the sobbing and coughing of dying people as the deadly gas penetrated their lungs, blood, and mind. Olga died. At night, a group of German soldiers walked around the ravine near the tractor plant, looking for the people who were still alive. Suddenly, they heard a weak cry and checked it out. A baby was crawling on its mother's dead body, crying. "I can't believe those Jews." "Nothing can kill them," the soldier said. He took the baby by its leg and slammed its head against a tree. Blood splashed from its nose and mouth, covering the German soldier's pants. "Damn it." He threw the dead baby on the ground and walked away.